Hi all, and welcome to the start of a new series. This is on the Operational Art of War 4. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with this one, it's not a tabletop game like my other stuff. This is a computer game, and it's a hardcore strategy game focusing on operational level stuff. So it's hex-based, numbers, all that NATO symbols, all that kind of good stuff. And it can simulate anything from Napoleonic era conflicts through to the immediate future kind of thing, so you could do modern conflicts in it as well, and everything in between, World War One, World War Two, the works. There's no other game quite like it. It's an old series. It's been around since I started playing the P200, the second edition, so it's been around a long time. And this is the latest version that was brought out late last year by Matrix Games. Out the blue, they suddenly announced and then dropped fourth edition, and it's cracking. It's absolutely brilliant. It solves so many of the problems the previous editions had. And this is the start of a diary where I am playing a scenario called Fire in the Sun 2. Fire in the Sun 2. It's not Fire in the Sun, Fire in the East 2. And this simulates the entire Eastern Front conflict from the Russian invasion. Doing well today. From the German invasion of Russia through to the fall of Berlin. Now, to give you a sense of scale about exactly what that means, this is the map. Now the map is in 5 kilometre hexes and it's at regimental level. So the Russian order of battle right now after the German first turn is about 2,000 odd units. It takes a while. To watch the German replay took me about 2 days on and off, and it's taken me the better part of a week to get through my turn. Although it's the first turn, so it's quite quick. And to give you an idea of sense of scale, this is the kind of German invasion here, the blue being the Germans, and as you can see, this is Moscow here. We've got all the way up, it goes all the way up through Finland. I'm not going to scroll because at this view it takes ages. It goes all the way over the west to Berlin, goes all the way south through Turkey and Iran. It is just massive in scale. Now, most of my first term wasn't actually spent with the movement. It was coming up with a plan, really, of action. So just probably want to talk about what my plan is initially anyway. Mostly it's trying to avoid dying, but I find in a game this size it helps to basically put an actual map to it. So what I have is I use an online whiteboard, here it is, to divide things up into sectors, telling me to kind of control all these units and map them. So as you can see, this is a bit more of a view of the map, so it goes all the way from the top in the Arctic sector all the way down south. It keeps going. It keeps going and going, down all the way down to Rostov and below that. But mostly I've focused on the part that matters just now, which is along the west here, so where the Germans are actually coming in. And just to sort of gain myself, I've marked major cities in the map with the grid coordinates. I've marked these blue lines represent major rivers, which are a problem for them to cross, with the various crossings marked, so I know where I'm defending. So just before I get into the detail of what my moves are on the map, just to give you a feel for what I've witnessed, and this is why it's important to watch the replay. I saw a large amount of German things go down into the swampland here, and he's pushed through at Minsk, sort of this Minsk sector, as I've called it, just north of Minsk. God, my tongue is tied today. So my plan currently is to sort of hold in a line from Riga down sort of towards Minsk and fall back that way, because there's fall back across the rivers, down south through the swamp and down to Kiev, and then so rather than hold, I'm going to keep the Dnepr as a secondary line. At that point we cut across. I'm going to try and hold them along the Stalin line. Now when I say hold, I'm not going to hold them. It's going to be like standard sort of Russian German invasion. If you remember, I think Stalingrad is like here. So that's how far the Germans got in real life. So he's going to get through all this. This is mostly about buying time, slowing him down and making him bleed in supplies, because I can't fight him right now. My infantry, everything's just outclassed. The equipment, I don't have the supply, the motivation and the troops, anything. So all I can do is really force him to waste time and resources to take me out. Not to sound like a proper callous bastard of a Russian commander, but yes, pretty much I am trading bodies for space right now. And to give you a feel for what needs to manage this, yes, I have a spreadsheet where I sort of go through all the formations and mark them down. As you can see, it's all red and amber. Everything's at least not even above half supply right now, so it's barely able to fight. And that all the dead there Well, that was them. The Russian Air Force is pretty much wrecked. So let's have a wee look at the map and just go through some of the high points of what's happened so far. So as you can see up here on the right, as happens historically, the Russian Air Force has just been wiped out. What few planes survived have gone away and hid in the Far East right now, and I'm just waiting till the Air Force builds up before I can bring it into play. So now my opponent is better than me. He's just better. We've been playing play by email since last year, and he just generally smashes me every time. So historically, this is quite a historic matchup. You've got Russian commander that currently isn't really 100% sure of what he's doing versus a German commander who's very, very good. So we'll have to see how that one goes. What surprised me though is normally I haven't played him. He's normally quite aggressive, and it feels like he's been in some regards a bit less aggressive than I would expect. For those of you who have played, the solo German invasion of Russia on Directive 21, you know how quite brutal the German invasion is at the start, and it kind of surprised me a bit. So although he's been cheeky, there's been a few times he's pushed stuff right up on train carriages, and I thought that's a bit risky, but it's not really, because right now the shock value is so in his favour that even if I could counterattack them, I couldn't do any damage to them. So right now there's only a couple of attacks going in, I'll point out as we kind of go through, but as you can see there's been a massive penetration here. He's been really kind of cheeky. What I have had there is sort of fallen back a bit towards the river, but there's a big gap there in the line. A lot of these regiments, these are dead. These are all dead. And as the Russians, the first turn especially is mostly spent in triage. I'm deciding what formations are gone. They're either trapped or they're too close to the Germans to really escape. What formations have enough sort of time to get to somewhere decent defensive, and what formations I'm going to save till they've had a bit of time to get the supply up. Now normally everyone who's dying, all I do is blow all the bridges where I can, and dig them in really nasty terrain, where possible anyway, to try and make them just difficult to kill and buy time. For those of you playing also, I have got a kind of slightly custom graphic set, so I think those are the major rivers. I made them deliberately darker so they're easier to spot, and spot these kind of points which are really important for defence. As you can see, bridges when blown stand out in red, and there's also a rail one. I don't know if it'll work right now. The German hex conversion's at full 100%, so all the rail hexes they go over get converted. But if it doesn't, then I've also got a special custom colour for them, just so I can see. I've also altered the highlights because I don't like the default one, so red for what's selected and yellow for everything in the formation. And the mouse cursor is back to a normal one. All these mods are kind of findable if you look in the forums. They're all just bits and bobs I've added in. So as we can see, that's mostly been bad. I've started trying to get some form of a battle line at Minsk, although it ain't going to hold, but it's just designed to slow him down. Now, interestingly, as we go south, he did quite a little cheeky push here through the swamp. A lot of stuff on trains, a lot. Now, I've not hit the turn button yet, but I've got a monitor there to try and blast that lot, because there's quite a lot sitting there on trains, so hopefully that'll do some damage. Unfortunately, I managed to get my other riverboat captured, which was trapped basically, so it's probably toast. So I've currently just been desperately blowing the bridges and doing my best to stop him running too far forward there. Down the south of the swamp area, down in the approach to Kiev, again, another big push. He's not been quite as brutally fast here though. He's mostly concentrated in capturing and destroying this lot. Here though, he's been quite sneaky again. This lot are just trapped. I can't actually get them the hell out of there, which is slightly annoying. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that, but they're probably as good as dead. But most, as you can see, I've started sort of filling in the gaps in the Stalin line here to try and create something cohesive to slow them down. And down the south, although the Romanians haven't came into play, I'm just preempting it, and I'm blowing all the bridges and pulling back, apart from like small roadblock units to stay in the way. I'm pulling almost everything back behind the Dnester to try and slow them down. So that's the current plan. We'll see how it goes. I've got to hit the turn process. There is one other little thing I managed to do, which gave me a little bit of hope, was I managed to trap some enemy units in the trains. Where was it? Was it around about here? Yeah, it's here. It's kind of surprised. You had a couple of engineering corps or army corps on trains there with a scout right into the middle. I don't know if he mustn't have realised there was all those units there. So hopefully they're overextended. The tanks and stuff should be able to maul them. But I'll see when the turn sort of plays out. But yeah, so currently the Russian army is mostly in triage, pulling back, trying to slow the German advance down as much as possible and bleed them. And we'll see how it goes. So I'll hit the turn button, see what happens, and then pop back in. So here we're at the end of the attack. I managed to get 2 rounds, which surprised me. Kind of mixed results. The bombardment of the guys in train just killed nothing. It's one part of the game I never really get the hang of, is just bombarding things. It's very hit and miss, but I would have thought, 4 monitors bombarding a bunch of trains would have got me something, but apparently not. On the other hand, though, those guys in the trains, I managed to take out the HQ and squeeze the rest down to a pocket. So that's quite nice. At least I got a little bit of revenge there. But otherwise, the ball is still very much in the Germans' court right now, so we'll have to see what happens and take it from there. Right, catch you all later.